Tradition destroys efficiency. This is exactly what we can say when it comes to agriculture. In our modern times, it is becoming more and more difficult for traditional farms to compete for places on the global market, as large players are trying to automate as much as possible, or at least facilitate all processes on their fields to be able to maximize efficiency. Today, we will dive into this area a little bit, but before the video starts, I want to remind you that if you like this video after watching it, please like it and subscribe to the channel. Thank you in advance. Choosing the right time to plant crops can be a challenge. Some farmers choose the time of planting as they see fit, or based on their internal observations and forecasts, while some other farmers rely on more accurate forecasts, such as meteorological forecasts. Many people believe that meteorology is at least scientific, so they should use this method. It is also worth adding various new types of sensors that can describe the condition and quality of the soil in which you want to plant something even more accurately. For example, you can easily measure all the key parameters, such as nutrient levels, moisture content, etc. It is also very common to use similar devices that measure all these parameters in real time 24/7, so that the farmer can optimize his fertilization schedule, watering, etc. Obviously, before planting anything, you have to prepare the soil. There are many different types of cultivators that help farmers according to their needs. There are cultivators that prepare the soil before sowing something, and there are cultivators that, for example, destroy weeds when the crop is already planted in the soil. There are also self-propelled cultivators, and cultivators that are attached, for example, to a tractor. Although the basic idea of this method is quite ancient, everything has changed many times since then, except for the actual technology. Initially, people used hoes or plows, until people came up with a brilliant plan for ancient times, to combine many hoes together and use pulling power. Bulls, oxen were harnessed to help prepare the soil much more efficiently. The real furor came when, many centuries later, people finally started making the first smart machines, and tractors appeared. Around the beginning of the 20th century, the first tractors entered a new stage in their evolution, and from giant machines that almost no one needed, they became compact and more affordable machines that not only giant monopoly farms, but also medium-sized and even small farms could buy. Nowadays, there are many varieties of tractors and cultivators. But unfortunately, or fortunately, the share of organic farming has started to decline, and there is a certain tendency to use chemicals that can replace at least that part of tractors and cultivators that were responsible for weed control. Sowing is probably the most important process, as you need to prepare the plant seeds and place them on the soil properly. If people used to do it all manually, nowadays there are many options for how to sow plants. It even comes down to robots doing it instead of people. At this point, it is worth noting that for many different crops, you may need diametrically different machines, because it is clear that for sowing potatoes and for sowing, say, rice, you will need different techniques of sowing. Speaking of fertilization, it is a rather painstaking process, because there are many factors that you have to consider when choosing fertilizers and the amount of fertilizers. For example, you have to control the amount of fertilizer under each plant, and try to provide the most equal amount to each plant, because if you dump a lot of fertilizer in one part of your land, it obviously won't help. It can only harm. Another important topic is protecting your land from pests. I think it would be most frustrating for anyone to spend a lot of time planting some crops, and then have them eaten by pests. Watering the plants you have planted is another important factor that contributes to a good harvest. There are many options on how you can provide watering for your crops. The traditional method is to simply pour water that comes from some simple system, such as a pump, or from an irrigation canal. But this is not the only method. Nowadays, there are many new methods and technologies that have proven to be more efficient and effective. Although each farmer has his own opinion about each of the methods, from what I have heard, many farmers at least do not criticize aerosol irrigation, and at most, they say that it is a good method of watering crops. It should be noted right away that this type of water supply is not suitable for all types of plants, because high pressure and large differences in water supply can damage vulnerable plant species. And this type of irrigation is not suitable for all areas because it is highly affected by winds. Aerosol irrigation is carried out with very small drops of water, and this provides a certain ability to regulate the temperature and gentleness of the surface layer of the atmosphere, which together gives a good result, and this result is similar to the natural process of moistening during rain. Also, among the newer methods, the method of subsoil irrigation has proven itself, i.e., water is supplied directly to the area where the plant roots are located. The obvious advantage of this method is that the water gets not just to the surface of the earth, but specifically underground, to the roots of the plant, and therefore, this water does not evaporate by the sun. But, unfortunately, as is often the case, this system has its drawbacks. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and will like it.